Well, because everybody says there's this, again, there's this sort of tension between populist politics and the pursuit of power. And so there's this whole debate now that, if there is negotiation, there's dialogue, how will it affect the populist movement? If your party is up there and they're fighting for democracy, they're behind the lawyers, they've given the huge sacrifices you're talking about. Will they feel let down if you enter into negotiations which lead to your sharing power with General Musharraf?
You see, it's not a question of sharing power. It's a question of respecting the mandate of the people. So we're not talking here about distributing the mithai before the mithai is on the table. But the issue is, कि आप जलेबी ले लें और मैं बर्फी. But it's just an issue really that let the people decide. I'm in this for the people. I want fair elections and I want the people to decide. And all our negotiations are based on the concept of what are fair elections. And right now we are really bothered about these electoral lists. I don't know whether you're on the electoral list. Have
I checked. I rushed out to check. No, it was it's really terrible. 25 million people missing.
Yes, I mean 30% of the electorate is missing, and of those who are in the list, 26% are duplicates. So before the first ballot being cast, the results are already rigged. So they don't need anybody for anything.
They've got
the whole mithai is theirs. Which is why I think that keeping the momentum is also important in balance. We've got to keep the momentum, but not to an issue to invite somebody else. But Tammy, situations change because the situation in Pakistan today is so different that I don't think the nation would accept somebody else from the military even coming in. The joy that people felt at the restoration of the Chief Justice of Pakistan and the mood in the country is such that really I think that it's dealt a very heavy blow to the authority of the present regime.
I want to come back to what you said a little while ago. You talked about extremism, and if you look at the present regime, I mean, General Musharraf really calls the shots, and the rest of the government is just sort of there. People say it's decorative, but
it is decorative, but a little pudgy decorative, don't you think?
It's a little overstuffed. The largest cabinet ever, but he does call the shots, and he seems to be everybody's favorite, if you like, particularly the United States' favorite when it comes to this war on terror. So the conventional wisdom is that he'll stay as president because he has this huge backing.
That was the conventional wisdom. But many things are changing, and many things are changing very rapidly in our country. Yesterday, for example, statements were given that if Pakistan doesn't reassert authority in the tribal areas, the US will come in and strike down people who are using Pakistani soil to mount attacks on NATO troops in neighboring Afghanistan. So if there are such attacks, it will lead to a tremendous erosion of authority. And General Musharraf also has let the initiative slip from his hand. For example, if he had restored the Chief Justice himself in March, his situation would have been very different. Most of us knew that the Chief Justice was going to be restored, and it seemed very strange that the government itself did not really appreciate that. So sometimes when you don't act in time, you lose the momentum.
Or you act under very bad advice.
You act under bad advice, yes. People need to have good advisors.
Yeah.
We become prisoners of those who are around us. When I was in Prime Minister's house, or even now, I don't know who approaches to see me. It's all dealt with by officers because there is so much pressure, and they have a hard job to do too, because out of say 100 I can see 10 people, so they have to process.
Well, I don't one of the
10. I'm sure it's the same with you because you're a popular TV host.
No, I'm not that popular. Obviously nowhere sort of even close to 100. But if we look at Pakistan and the control that the armed forces have had over politics in Pakistan, they've been in power, if you like, for over 35 years, and they've controlled political forces in Pakistan for a longer period. Now their position today may be a little weaker than it was a few months ago, But if President Musharraf continues as president and he gets re-elected, what would your position be? How would you be willing to sit in government with him then? Because that's again, then you're talking of the mandate of the people.
You see, first of all, there are very big ifs on whether he could get re-elected, and that's because the matter is bound to be challenged in the Supreme Court. And secondly, if the MMA resigns, some of the queue might start defecting too. So already the queue has started defecting.
They started defecting to you?
So it's, well, to us and others too, I think, but more to us. So, it's not, we're not clear whether the Electoral College is really there. And then we come to the issue that if he does get himself re-elected, what then? Do the political parties participate in the government or not? Or participate in the elections or not? Now, in 2002, we did all participate in the elections. And I think we must not let the people feel that we don't trust them. I think we must go to the polls. I mean, we'd like to go unless we're forced to boycott, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
We don't want to be forced to boycott. That's why we're saying that the list issue must be resolved. But if everything is sewn up beforehand, then there's no point in going through a charade. The option of still doing something